Hello and welcome to the Source One podcast. Consider us your source for the latest procurement, supply management, and strategic sourcing insights, anytime, anywhere. The Institute for Supply Management's annual conference is fast approaching. On May 6th, thousands of industry professionals will gather in Nashville, Tennessee to network, exchange best practices, and discuss emerging trends. Here at Source One, we're getting ready for the year's premier supply management conference with our new series, ISM2018 Session Insights. Tune in every week to hear our experts discuss the topics that promise to dominate the conversation at this year's conference.
Procurement teams aren't what they used to be. Within leading organizations, tactical purchasing units have given way to fully strategic business partners. The transition isn't always easy. More diverse and complex duties call for more diverse and complex skill sets. Understandably, many organizations find their existing training programs insufficient for developing these capabilities. A veteran of Procurement Transformation initiatives, Senior Consultant Megan Connell understands the importance of effective training programs. She's helped a number of Source One's clients assess their internal capabilities and develop systems for promoting long-term excellence. Megan joins us once again to share insights and best practices for effectively equipping your procurement team. Welcome back, Meg.
Thanks for having me.
You only need to take one look at ISM 2018's agenda to see how popular procurement transformation initiatives have become. How do training programs tie into these? Are the two inherently linked?
Yeah, I would say the two are linked. With any procurement transformation initiative, you're going to be making changes to how the department operates that will require you to train to make sure that the team understands these new processes. Beyond that, procurement transformation is about ensuring that departments are moving towards best in class. A key piece of that is making sure that you have a team that has the skills necessary to do that. This means training existing team members to align skills and continually educating them as technologies and processes change over time.
What are some of the shortcomings of typical training programs?
I think one of the biggest problems that organizations have with their training programs is that they're outdated. The training materials were developed years ago and haven't been updated since then. Therefore, the content isn't as effective as it once was. Another issue might be that organizations don't always have procurement-specific training. There are training programs that teach general business skills or training on company policies and procedures, but they don't focus on the core skills a procurement professional needs in their role.
What new skill sets are companies hoping to develop within their procurement departments? Have you observed categories or subject areas that companies are especially interested in?
Organizations are looking for team members that can keep up with the changing procurement environment. With the digitization of procurement, organizations need teams that have experience with working with different technologies and can adapt to these evolving tools. Data analytics and data management have become necessary skill sets for organizations. And finally, organizations are shifting away from the buyer mentality and focused on larger scale optimization and supplier management programs and need teams that can share this mentality. If a training program doesn't foster growth in these areas, the organization will not be able to keep up with the changing environment and their impact on the business will suffer.
What might a third-party consulting firm like Source One offer that a webinar cannot?
Webinars are great for providing an overview of a topic or teaching a specific process, but what they are lacking is how it's applied to a specific company or individual. Third-party consulting firms can customize their training materials to the unique needs of your organization and team. The training can be done within the context of how they'll actually apply these concepts in their day-to-day.
So how do you begin to develop a training program?
The first step in developing a training program is to evaluate where training is needed. An assessment of the team's capabilities and performance in key areas will help to understand where gaps exist and identify areas of strength that can be leveraged. Based on this information, you can develop a custom training program that addresses those gaps and further develops skills in areas where strengths already exist.
What steps do you take to assess a procurement team's strengths and weaknesses?
There are a number of ways that you can assess the team's capabilities. If there is an existing performance management process that evaluates an individual based on specific skill areas, that's a great start. However, those types of evaluations can be subjective depending on how the evaluations are actually completed. Another option would be to conduct an assessment or a survey that all team members can complete. This would evaluate all team members on the same criteria and would be seeking specific responses that indicate if a gap exists.
Surveys are certainly helpful for collecting data, but how can companies or consultants verify this data?
Yeah, surveys are a great way of collecting information from a team in a consistent way, but just because you get an answer right on a survey doesn't actually mean you know what that means or how to do that thing. There should be another layer to the evaluation in addition to the survey, whether that's a follow-up interview where you drill in on specific questions or skills, or work with an individual's direct manager to validate the survey results. This way you're able to drill in more on if that person really has a gap or strength in that area.
Could you describe some of the different forms a training program might take?
Training can be delivered in a number of ways: in-person, online, webinar, train the trainer, and more. A good training program integrates a number of these different formats so that the information is communicated in the most effective manner. It is also important to consult with your HR team to understand how they typically deploy training and what the most effective method is for your organization. The content of the training should be the driver of the format for how it's delivered. If you're training on a soft skill or an interactive element of the procurement process like negotiations, an in-person interactive delivery model should be the most effective. Whereas if you're providing a refresher course on Excel, a self-led online course will suffice.
And how can companies ensure their training programs remain effective in the long term?
In order to ensure that your training program is effective, you should consider using exit surveys after key courses. These exit surveys will give the team the opportunity to share their thoughts on how the training course went and can include questions that assess whether they understood the content of the training. The results of these surveys can help to tailor the content for the next time the training is delivered and can also help to improve future courses. Additionally, you should take a step back and look at the overall skill set of the team to see if that is improved through the various training courses you've conducted. This can be done by conducting another skills assessment to see if there has been any improvements compared to the previous results. You don't want to be sending this type of assessment too frequently, or it may start to impact how the team perceives the way they're being evaluated. Depending on how your performance management process is structured, some form of the assessment could be integrated into the annual review process. This way you're able to assess the effectiveness of the training program on an annual basis and make adjustments accordingly.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us again, Meg.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to ISM 2018 Session Insights. Tune in next week to hear more from the procurement leaders at Source One. See you in Nashville.